Hey, struggling with acrylics? Come on, let's get a free online course with me.
Hey everyone, as an NDS Beauty Pro educator, I've always taught classes in person, especially when it comes to acrylics. I've been teaching classes for 4 years now. I've traveled 30 states. I've taught over 500 plus students in person. I like teaching in person because it allows me to give 100% to my students. And also, I think it's the best way to grow as a nail tech if you're trying to learn acrylics or something that's technical as acrylics. So I always get questions, hey, do you do online classes? And unfortunately, I don't do online classes because I just don't think I don't want to charge a nail tech that, for an online course, I can't perform at 100% as an educator. And I also make educational content for free anyways. So I decided that, I was going to do free online courses, videos like this. So in this video, if you're struggling with acrylics, majority of the time is a liquid to powder ratio. As you see what I'm doing here, I'm just testing the ratio using my brush to kind of gauge how much liquid I'm picking up compared to how much powder I'm picking up. And that would allow you to kind of see if your beads are going to be dry or it's going to be too runny. And then eventually you'll kind of get that nice, perfect bead. And sometimes when my students in class, they struggle with liquid powder ratio, I have them just do what I'm doing here and just pick up beads until they kind of get it down. It's all about muscle memory and repetition, and you'll be able to get that kind of ratio that's perfect for you and the brush size you're using. And once you get that down, you'll be able to kind of start your practice. Now, in class, we generally try to practice with a cover powder, which is a nude or a pink. These are powders a little bit easy to work with for beginners, unlike color powder, where there's a lot of pigment and it can be really runny, and and it also contaminates your monomer. So here I just picked up, what I generally consider a medium bead, where the bead is going to be a perfect ratio, and I do a 2 bead technique here on this nail. You don't have to. You can always use as many beads as you want. I'm just showing the technique, picking up the bead and allowing you to have control. As you notice, my ratio is about 50-50. It's a perfect balance for me. That means that when I put the bead down, it allows the acrylic to set, but doesn't run all over the place. I am using NDS BEAUTY Pro's number 5 Everyday Nude. This powder is very, buttery, so it allows me to be able to, it makes it a little easier for me. You may be using a different type of powder or monomer, and it may be a little bit runnier, so you have to adjust your ratio to make sure that the beads are going to be working for you. In a sense, right now, I'm using my brush to just brush the powder in. I know sometimes when we pick up a wet bead, we want to just let it drip and just, swipe it through. It's a very common practice, and a lot of times you see a lot of, experienced nail techs do this. Is because they have the technique down and they very light-handed, and they've been doing it for a while, so it's easier for them to do it. But as a beginner nail tech, if you tried this, you might be a little bit more heavy-handed. The surface, the acrylic might be uneven. So I always teach my students powder control. It's so important. This is the fundamental core basics. I want them to be able to pick up a bead that they can control, and I want them to be in control of the powder and not have the powder be in control of them when it's runny or when it's too dry. So that would allow you to just kind of work the powder and shape the powder to make it nice and even, so you don't have to do a lot of work later with all the extra filing and drilling to break down the bulk. Now, I'm doing a 2 bead here, so I generally place my bead about 75% of the nail, a little bit over the free edge where the apex area is. And then my second bead, I will be just, sealing the cuticles and flushing the cuticles, and also positioning the powder so that my apex is there and not dragging the powder all the way through. And even for me as someone experienced, you can see here I kind of messed up because the powder dried up a little bit here. That's fine. At the end of the day, technique is one thing, but if you have to put more beads on later just to make the nail perfect, do it. Not every nail tech is going to be perfect when they're doing their application. I mean, I can do a 1 bead and make it nice and smooth, the apex and everything. But there's some days, when the powder dries a little bit faster, or temperature control or difference in the environment, in your room, the powder might dry a little quicker. Just get a little bit more acrylic and make it work. So I always tell my students, I'm teaching you a technique, but you don't have to exactly achieve everything how I'm doing it. I just want to show you a technique that you'll be able to kind of replicate over time, and then you kind of build it up and have a core foundation of techniques that will allow you to work with acrylics easier. And then later on, when you get more experience, you can always tweak it however you want to make it your own or whatever you're comfortable with. But it's very important when you're learning acrylics to kind of learn basic fundamentals and keep the basic fundamentals, because a lot of nail techs kind of skip past this and they run into this issue. So this is a little bit of, acrylic application here, and I hope you guys really enjoy this video, and I'm gonna make more of this, and I'm posting on my TikTok and YouTube. All I ask you guys is support the channel and, leave a comment, see what you want to see next, and we'll see you in the next video when we do more free online classes with me. Thank you guys.